President Donald Trump has now reversed his plan to significantly increase tariffs on Canada's steel and aluminium products.
In saying that, we will not back down. We will be relentless.
Canada is making waves with its $760 billion strategy, a move designed to fight back against the economic chaos caused by Trump's tariffs. Yes, $760 billion. This is a full-blown transformation of Canada's economy, reshaping trade, infrastructure, and national priorities.
President Trump decided to have an unprovoked attack on our country, on families, on jobs, and it's unacceptable. Let's work together. Let's get to the table if he has issues, and let's sort this out.
Canada isn't holding back in this economic showdown when it comes to responding to U.S. tariffs. From reducing energy dependence with a bold cross-country pipeline to expanding trade partnerships across Europe and Asia, Canada is moving with precision and purpose. Each step is designed to strike where it stings the most, challenging America's grip on Canada's economy. This isn't just retaliation. It's a statement that Canada is ready to rewrite the rules, and it's playing to win.
States that he is going to be responding, as you mentioned, with increasing tariffs on steel and aluminum from 25% to...
Trump's tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum hit like a sledgehammer. Introduced back in 2018, these measures were a wake-up call. The U.S., Canada's closest ally and largest trading partner, suddenly became a threat to Canadian stability. In 2018, the aftershocks are still being felt. Industries that were once the pride of Canada remain in a difficult position, fighting to recover from billions in losses.
As President Trump walks back tariffs on most products from Mexico and Canada, again, Canada says retaliatory tariffs will stay in place until that pause is permanent.
But why is this $760 billion plan such a big deal? It's because Canada is rewriting the rules of the game. The strategy includes diversifying trade partnerships, building massive energy infrastructure, and reducing reliance on the U.S. like never before. These are bold moves that could redefine the nation's economic future.
Quite a change for Trump 2.0, going back, it wasn't so long ago in his first term where he was touting the market's climbs. Now he seems to be ignoring them, suggesting he doesn't even pay attention, though those around him all say.
Let's rewind back to Trump's 2018 tariffs, which were a political statement disguised as economic policy. Under the guise of national security, the U.S. imposed duties of 25% on Canadian steel and 10% on aluminum. Companies scrambled to adapt. Some cut back on production, while others closed their doors entirely. By 2019, Canada's steel and aluminum industries had lost billions in revenue.
Take a look at this. You see the Dow is way down, getting close to 600 points now, 622 points down right now, 622. It's all fueled by the enormous uncertainty over the president's trade war.
The tariffs forced Canada to confront a harsh reality. Over-reliance on the U.S. was no longer an option. For decades, more than 70% of Canada's exports went to its southern neighbor. That kind of dependency meant that when Washington sneezed, Ottawa caught a cold.
As President Trump just announced that he will double the planned tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum.
And now again, the U.S. has announced 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum goods exported from Canada. And now, Trump has doubled the tariff on the products that are coming from Canada. But this isn't 2018 anymore. In 2025, Canada is rewriting the playbook with a bold $760 billion strategy that's more than a comeback. It's a revolution. This plan is about building an economic powerhouse that's stronger, smarter, and untouchable.
That the provincial government of Ontario put on electricity sold to the United States.
Canada is breaking free from its U.S.-centric trade chains, forging powerful new partnerships with Europe and Asia. And that's not all. At the heart of this vision is a game-changing energy corridor, stretching across the nation to supercharge its economy. The ultimate goal? To ensure Canada doesn't just weather the storm from Washington, it thrives, standing tall and unshakable no matter what the U.S. throws its way. This is resilience redefined.
As the trade war with America simmers, we're getting a new look today at how Canadians feel about building more pipelines to get our oil.
So, first, Canada plans to make a countrywide pipeline from Alberta to southern Canada to become self-reliant in energy. Public support for this pipeline is surprisingly high. The pipeline offers a way to access international markets while strengthening the domestic economy. Jobs and economic growth are hard to argue against, especially when other industries are struggling.
And now we're finding out through Nanos polling that 3 in 4 Canadians actually support an oil and gas pipeline that would go from Alberta to eastern.
A Nanos poll shows that 75% of Canadians are in favor, even though it comes with concerns about environmental impacts and Indigenous land rights. That level of support is rare for something this big and controversial.
If you look at your screen here, you can see the breakdown with 85% in the prairies on the right of your screen here in favor of a pipeline. What's probably most interesting is closer to the left of your screen, Quebec at 60% showing support for the idea of a pipeline. We know that.
But the pipeline is also creating divides. The prairie provinces, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba are strongly in favor, with 85% support. For them, it's a way to revive their struggling oil and gas industries. These regions see the pipeline as a lifeline. This puts Canada in a tough spot. The pipeline could help reduce dependence on the U.S. and boost the economy, but it comes with challenges that could spark protests and disagreements at home. It's a gamble, but for Canada, it's one worth taking to secure its future.
Trade leads to increased prosperity. I want more trade agreements. We got to open up and have an even more open trade agreement with European Union. We need one with Japan. We need one with South Korea. I would even very quickly argue we need a very careful free trade agreement with China.
Trade diversification is another big part of Canada's plan. Deals like CETA with Europe and the CPTPP with Asia-Pacific countries are opening up new opportunities. These agreements have already boosted Canada's exports to non-US markets, reducing reliance on its southern neighbor. For example, exports to the European Union have grown by nearly 20% since CETA started in 2017.
So we become less completely dependent on the United States. It's called trade diversification. Yes, it does take time. It can take a year, 2 years, 3 years.
By expanding trade with countries like Japan, Australia, and Germany, Canada is sending a clear message. It won't put all its eggs in one basket. Relying so heavily on the US left Canada vulnerable, and this strategy is about reducing that risk. It's more than just about economics. It's about making a political statement that Canada can stand on its own.
A currency and an economic union similar to an European Union. That's what the question was posed by Nanos polling, saying that, look, would you like to create an economic union with the U.S. where you share the U.S. dollar?
Let's talk about something that really gets Canadians fired up: money. Specifically, the idea of ditching the loonie for the U.S. dollar. According to a Nanos poll, the majority of people across the country are firmly against the idea. 2/3, to be exact, say, thanks but no thanks, to a currency and economic union with our southern neighbors.
At 80% of people saying we don't want to share the US dollar with our American.
But here's the kicker. Atlantic Canada takes the cake when it comes to rejecting this idea. A whopping 80% of people in that region are against the thought of trading in their Canadian dollars for US bills. Why so strong? Well, Atlantic Canadians have a reputation for fiercely guarding their identity, and this seems to hit a nerve. It's like someone suggesting they stop eating donairs or fiddleheads. Just not happening.
And Canadians wanting to stay as independent as possible and not, eliminate that border with the U.S.
The idea of a currency union might sound convenient in theory. Think about the European Union, where people can travel from Paris to Prague without worrying about exchanging currencies. But Canada isn't buying it, literally. For one, we're not Europe. Canadians don't see the US dollar as a unifying force. They see it as a surrender of economic sovereignty. And let's be honest, Canadians know what's at stake here. It's not just about money. It's about power, independence, and the ability to make decisions that prioritize Canadian interests. Trusting the US with that kind of influence feels like handing the fox the keys to the henhouse.
A lot of people wanting to get some reassurance from the president and the White House. This is not doing that. This is only creating far more uncertainty at a time when people are very concerned about the state of the economy.
Here's the thing. Canada's $760 billion plan is more than just about pipelines, trade deals, or pushing back against Trump. It's about something far bigger: independence and redefining power dynamics. For decades, Canada has relied heavily on its relationship with the US, carefully navigating the delicate balance between cooperation and sovereignty. But now, this bold strategy is shaking things up, and it's creating a ripple of uncertainty across the border. American industries, long used to Canada's predictable role as a close ally, are now left questioning the future. The US is desperate for reassurance, but Canada's move signals one clear message: it's no longer business as usual.
Also in the auto industry, President Trump in his post said that he is going to go ahead on April 2nd and put tariffs on any autos coming into the U.S. But the problem is Canadian auto parts and cars are very much intertwined with U.S. manufacturing.
Canada's bold vision is undeniably inspiring, but it's also a high-stakes gamble. The economies of Canada and the US are so deeply intertwined that untangling them, even slightly, feels like navigating a maze with no clear exit. Can a nation so economically tied to its southern neighbor truly carve out its own path? Or will the weight of US influence always cast a shadow too large to escape? This is where the complexity comes into focus. Canada's response to Trump's tariffs is a daring statement of intent. It's a declaration that, despite the risks, Canada is ready to steer its own course. But in a relationship this interconnected, every move ripples through both economies. Whether this bold step leads to independence or deeper entanglement remains the million-dollar question. Or, perhaps, the $760 billion one. So, what's your take? Like this video and subscribe to the channel to get more details on the US-Canada trade fiasco.